All right, hello and welcome to the Devstream 130 breakdown. So we have a good bit of stuff to talk about and a few changes of plans on DE's part that are going to be very important. So starting with the deluxe skins. So we have a little bit of an update on some of the deluxe stuff. First of all, here is the Equinox deluxe skin. This is what it looks like. We have night form, day form, and then the combined form. I think it looks really nice. The render that they have going on, I think it looks good. I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to use this one just because some of the Tenogen for Equinox is really nice, but Dayform does look kind of cool. It'll really depend on how it colors, I think, in the end for me, but it seems like a nice deluxe skin. And then we have an update on the Evora deluxe skin. So the Evora deluxe skin, a lot of people were unhappy with the concept art. However, I think people are going to be pretty happy with the actual, like, in-game how it's gonna look. Because this does not look like the concept art. I want to make that really clear that they don't seem that similar. Like, the colors used are maybe kind of in the same wheelhouse, but this does not look like... This doesn't look like the concept art at all, and I think it looks really fucking cool. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this more than my current Tenogen, but it definitely looks very, very nice, and it's way better than I was expecting it to look based on that concept art. And we also have, in addition to that image, this image of the bow that we are going to be getting with the skin. I don't know if this is a skin that is also going to be able to be used on just all the bows in the game, but they did say it was for the Artemis bow at the very least, so her 4 is going to look really, really snazzy. So that will be nice. Hopefully it is for not only her bow, but also all of the other bows in the game. That would be nice. But that is the Evora stuff. And then just very briefly, they showed off the Shawzin instrument a bunch more. Like, they showed it very briefly on the last dev stream, but it's got some things added to it now. It has a UI, like fingers move to pluck the strings on it and all that good business. So if you wanted Warframe Guitar Hero, that is going to be a thing that is going to exist. Personally, I am probably actually going to use this to annoy people by, like, macroing songs that, like, no one should be listening to in Warframe. And then just being able to do that whenever there's, like, a moment between defense waves or just some goofy shit like that. That's my plan for it, honestly, is just to set up macros to just hilarious meme songs. So hopefully that works out whenever this comes out. And then besides that, we have Gauss, which of course is here in the Shawzin image. There is some more information on him. We obviously already know what all of his powers are, and I've gone over that already. But he is no longer shipping with Grendel. He is shipping with the main line, which should be at the end of this month. And it is going to come with him dropping in the new Disruption expansion, which is basically Disruption being pushed into the other factions and such, so that we have it in more places. So that is going to be where Gauss is. And they're also going to be trying a new thing to add lore to this newly released Warframe. They weren't really specific about what that is, but they're trying something new with giving more context for these Warframes. And that's probably something to look forward to as well. Now, aside from that, the stuff that's in the main line, besides Gauss, is the look and mod link, which we went over previously in the last Devstream breakdown. 2 new weapons for Gauss, where the gimmick is that if you're sprinting, they reload faster. Kind of a fun little thing. We'll see how those go. It is a primary and a secondary. The friend cap changes are going to be coming in. So if you have over 1,000 friends, you are not going to be able to add any more. You can keep all the ones you currently have, but you cannot add any more if you're over 1,000. You're going to be capped to 1,000. And they're also, of course, going to have the tools for, like, mass removal of people off of the friends list in addition to that. Also with the main line is Sentinel ribbons. So a lot of people hate Sentinel ribbons, myself included, because they're a complete waste of everyone's fucking time. But if you really want them for one reason or another, Samaris is going to give you them as an option to get with his rep. So that is a thing that you'll be able to do. And this should be coming at the end of the month. And I hopefully it's a little bit earlier on at the end of the month for me personally, because I am going to be going to PAX West and I want to, of course, cover all of it for you guys. But in the event that it launches like the day I leave or something, that'll be very sad, and that would be why there won't be videos if that happens. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But yeah, that's going to be what's up with that. Now, moving on, let's talk about Grendel, because we now know all of Grendel's abilities. So His one is Feast, where he basically does a AoE in front of him that can be turned, and it seemed like you could hold the ability to make it last longer, and it eats enemies in front of you. So this zoops all the enemies up, and then it drains energy per enemy that you have eaten. Apparently there is no cap on Dev currently. We don't know if there will be a cap. That remains to be seen. But it drains energy per enemy, so there's probably no need for a cap realistically. And that is cool. It's kind of what we expected him to do. Sadly, he does not like have his chest open up with his big mouse looking thing on there, but apparently he does get bigger whenever he's eating a bunch of dudes. And then his 2 turns eaten enemies into buffs. So basically enemies that you've eaten, you turn them into one of 3 buffs, which is an armor buff, an energy buff, and I think the energy buff was specifically stated to increase the amount of energy you get from pickups and stuff. And then a toxin damage buff that wasn't hugely specific in what that's going to affect exactly. And then his 3 is Regurgitate, which fires eaten enemies at people. So basically, you just shoot dudes out like rockets and it hits people. It seemed hilarious, but of course, it is very hard to tell how useful that is going to be in the end. And then for his 4, is also super goofy. You literally turn into a Metroid morph ball, and then that ball is like a physics-based ball that can eat enemies that you have a little bit of control over, and it can like jump slightly and things. Seems like it's going to be super goofy and probably a lot of fun, but how useful it's going to be depends on a whole lot of different factors. Like if there's, like, say, if you have like range also affects how fast you can roll, like how much you can influence it, if that affects like your jump height in it, like what that's affecting really depends on if that's going to be good. And obviously all of this stuff rides on the numbers, which are all in flux at all times, but I will say, based on just seeing him do stuff, if Meatball is good, like if you can like bullet jump and then hit 4 and then meatball a bunch of enemies in a hallway and then like spit them all into a corner and then catch moon them, that's good. Like that's a pretty solid thing to do. And it seemed like he was pretty hard to kill. Of course they had like Dev invincibility on, but like just based on getting like the big armor buff and stuff, like he might be difficult to kill. It's a little hard to say. But the big fat guy should be really, really hard to kill. Like, he should probably be like a Naros level difficulty of murder. If I had to take a guess. So that seemed fun, at the very least. Seemed like a good time. Whether or not it'll be good remains to be seen. Now, moving on to the last few things here. We have the Disruption expansion, which is, as I said before, just Disruption for all of the other factions. They're going to be Grineer. The Grineer are going to have the ghouls strapped with the like sentient technology stuff and all that, and that's what's going to be doing that. All that kind of business. And then we have a bunch of stuff for Imperium. So Imperium is really confusing for a lot of people, so we're going to talk about it a bunch. So basically, there are going to be, well, let's go over this menu first. For those of you who haven't seen this menu, this is the Imperium like menu for turning on abilities and things. Above the symbol for the ship, you can see the energy amount. That energy amount can be used to turn all these modules on and off at will, so you are managing this even while you are in mid-mission. So the way this is going to work has been detailed. So for each of these little things here, like you have like the top left, you have your weapons, and then the right side, you have your tactical stuff. Like there's a cloak over there. There's like the repair rate buff for like your ship healing itself. All that kind of stuff is going to have upgrade qualities. And what that means is not like Riven randomness quality, like getting stuff. Like you're not going to like fucking roll the dice on if you've got like a 1 to 300% repair rate. It's not going to be that, but it is going to be kind of your seemingly your more traditional, like, oh, this is a common repair rate module, this is a rare, this is an epic, this is a legendary, and they're going to have varying stats that you're going to be able to utilize. They said maybe some of the higher quality ones would have higher drain, but depending on how they go about like you getting these better quality ones will probably determine whether or not it'll be like the same drain but higher quality, all that kind of stuff. Basically, having a system where it's just like your normal like gray item, green item, purple item, orange item type scheme seems really good. It'll probably add a good amount of longevity to Railjack in terms of like just getting your ship like all the way upgraded. That would probably take quite a bit of time if we're gonna like fill all these slots. Like if we're gonna have these 16 abilities on the right, and then there's going to be like you know, 16 times 4 for each different quality. Like that's a lot of stuff to go and get. So that'll be probably pretty cool. Like we might not get it all at once because they talked about pushing Imperium out in chunks. Like we're gonna get like the Grenier chunk first and be able to do Grenier missions right off the bat. So we might not get everything at once, but that seems cool. And in addition to that, with the modules having different qualities that you can use, there's also going to be an upgrade system for your ship where the actual slots that the items go into can be upgraded. So basically what it seemed like is you'd have like let's say a 3% repair rate module, and you would put that into an upgraded slot and it would make it better. It wasn't super clear how exactly it would make it better, like whether or not it would make it repair more or whether it would just cost less energy because it's in a more efficient slot, or what kind of direction they were going to go with it. But basically the slots things go in can be upgraded. So where you put stuff is going to actually kind of matter, and that's cool. And then in addition to that, they talked a little bit about the crew recruitment stuff that you're going to be going through, and then talked about linking that with the syndicates and stuff. So if you're like max rank Steel Meridian, you'd be able to get like Steel Meridian people for your ship that would like give you damage boosts and things and stuff of that nature. So there is the potential that some syndicates will be like meta for Railjack. So that's a thing that could happen. So we will see how that turns out. I am pretty excited for these systems. The way that they talked about determining like the rarity and how things are going to be available and upgradable actually seems really solid. Like I was very happy with how it seemed like they want to do it. It's obviously different for Warframe to go down that route, but it is the kind of Borderlands like randomness that is kind of fun because you never know if you're gonna get like the legendary version of the item you have, but having the lower rarity versions, like if you have like the rare version of it, like the legendary version would be a thing that you would want, but not necessarily absolutely need to like progress and do certain things. So I think it'll be good overall for Railjack. It seems like a solid way to do the upgrade systems for that makes sense and is meeting their goal of it being different than just modding a Warframe. So it all seems super solid. Actually, it's very, very good Devstream. That Evora Deluxe was very, very surprising, and we got some good detail on kind of the direction that they're going. And also, we got the very important information that there's going to be an update, hopefully at the end of this month. So new content is coming, thank God. So yeah, that's going to do it for the Devstream 130 breakdown. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you later. Goodbye, everybody.